Hi guys, I forgot to mention actually, or did I say it? I can't remember now. If there's anything that you want us to try or attempt, please let me know in the comments section. I'll see what we can do. God, how many tea towels have I gone through? Did you like me designer pans, by the way? They're beautiful, aren't they? Lovely colour. I love this colour. And I use them all the time. I say designer pans. They weren't that expensive, to be honest with you. But these are non-stick. He says, and they're lovely. They're lovely to cook with. And my hob, of course, I used to have one of those induction hobs, you know, the magnetic ones. I couldn't get away with it. It was keep clicking and clicking and clicking. You had to move the pan, of course. You didn't know whether it was cooking or not. It was always on and off all the time. So I decided to go for the Bosch hob top. And it's been the best thing I've bought, to be fair. It really is. I really need to master this though, don't I? You know, you're trying to cook and you're trying to talk at the same time. Doesn't really work for me. I'd rather have a cameraman. I feel like I'm talking to the cameraman as well, you know what I mean? It does really help. And they can fire questions at me as well. But at the moment, you know, you're just talking to the camera. Even though I do know you guys are there and I do appreciate it, I'll probably get used to it. But at the moment, it's a bit difficult. But you know, my friend, she's coming over tomorrow, so we might do a video. We might do a chat video actually, because both of us we can chat for England. To be honest, you know, putting the world to rights, and I'm sure you can as well. You know, um, and yeah, we just forget. To be honest, when we're both together, we just forget. We just yap about everything that's going on, whilst having a drink as well, of course. So, which can be good, can also be dangerous as well, I suppose. We're trying not to talk about politics, but you know, politics is always going to come into it, especially in the UK, and of course now in the States as well. You know, with the election of Trump, but we don't know enough about that to talk about Trump. But British politics, we still don't know a lot. I mean, do they know anything? You know, themselves, but yeah, we've got an opinion on absolutely everything. And like I said the other day, the channel's called Graham's Kitchen Crack, and that's exactly what it is. It's about having a bit of a laugh, you know what I mean? And once I get confident with the IT, my IT skills, then we'll be off to a laugh, honestly. We'll get up to all sorts of shenanigans. And invite people as well, let's not forget, you know, because I do have a few contacts who are YouTubers. I don't want to mention their names, like, because I don't want to put them on the spot and say, oh, you know, do you fancy coming through and doing a spot with us or whatever, you know? But I do know a few of them to talk to. So watch this space and get some pointers from these guys as well. I mean, these guys are crazy, so God knows what it would be like. Cheers. Oh, it's nectar, that. I'm quite enjoying this. This is the only downside of it, isn't it? Doing the dishes after it. I suppose you have to do that when you're off cam, really, don't you? But this is going to save me a lot of time because I haven't even had my dinner yet. Would you believe? There's me having a drink, and I've never had anything to eat. And I don't like to go to bed on a full stomach, which won't happen. So I might have to have something light. How's this custard doing? Oh, it's cooling down, not too bad. Do you know something? I could put it in the fridge, couldn't I? I've got a spare shelf. I've got a spare shelf in the fridge. I could. Christ, there's no room in this bloody cupboard. Oh, just shut the door and walk away. Has this screensaver set you to sleep yet, guys? I just thought it'd be nice in the background. I quite like it, actually. It's a lot of colour. Because we're not allowed to play music, are we? Let me know in the comment section. Are we allowed to play music on YouTube? I don't think so. I think everything's copyrighted, isn't it? Which is a shame. I think you can play something like 10 seconds of music before you have to turn it off. I believe so. I'm not too sure on that one. Oh, and Facebook. Don't even talk to me about Facebook. I'm forever getting banned on Facebook for putting music on. You've got a 3-day, you're 3 days in jail. All right, okay. You know, it didn't take long, did it? Yeah, so tomorrow, I'll introduce you to my friend. Well, I'll let her introduce herself, to be honest with you. It should be a good evening. How's this bland? Oh, you can't see it for the bloody beads. I forgot. Well, if there's 1, 2, and 3 parts, who cares, guys? You know, I'm going to learn at the end of the day. Anywho, I'm going to get rid of this rubbish outside and have another Swifty. And I'll get back to you soon. Guys, how camp are these? How camp are these scales? They were only a tenner. Look at them, they're quite good actually. Gino De Campo's scales. I don't suppose it's metal, I don't know what it is, but it's not plastic. It's quite good, it's quite heavy for £10. A friggin' bargain if you ask me. Because the scales I had were them flat scales where you have to put the ball on. And, well, I don't know how to change the battery in them. And it's quite a pain actually. But yeah, I love me scales. Haha. Right guys, what we do when the flan comes out, or the Manchester tart comes out the oven, what we'll do, we'll start with the jam, and we'll just put a layer of jam on the bottom. Once it's cool, that is. We'll put a layer of jam on the bottom, and then mix the custard up. The custard's thickened and lovely in the fridge, actually. Once that's thickened up, then we'll just sprinkle it with desiccated coconut, or if you've got fresh coconut, coconut. You can put cherries on, you can put absolutely anything you want on the top to decorate it, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's what we're going to do, because that was my school days. I asked Chris, my lodger today, actually, have you ever had Manchester tart? He says, I've never heard of it. He says, where's she from? I says, well, Manchester. He thought I was on about a tart. And he said, no, we never had anything like that at school. We had desserts, but it was something like a yogurt or something like that. You know what I mean? I says, oh no. Although I didn't like the meals when I was at school back in the, dare I say it, in the 70s, the sweets and the custard, we used to always look forward to that. We had custard, we had the pink custard, green custard, we had all sorts, you know, that now, you just put a bit of food colouring in. But back then it was bloody lovely, you know what I mean? We really enjoyed it. So when I heard about Manchester tart, I thought, yeah, I do remember that. But I also remember not having that as a cold sweet, because this is advertised as a cold sweet. But we always had it warmed up, even though it had custard in it. We had the pink custard to go on top of it as well. And it was absolutely delicious, to be honest. So I might have a look back at some of the 70s desserts that we used to have back then. and introduce them, because seriously, they were really, really nice, full of flavour, not like the commercial stuff that you buy these days, straight out the packet and straight onto the plate. You really had to make these. And pineapple upside down, I mean, yeah, you've probably heard of that, but all these sponges and what have you, absolutely lovely. I used to love them, I really did. So, and that said, Chris has bought some strawberry jelly for the bairns, so he must be going to be doing them a trifle or something. They do like jelly, but kids do, don't they? I haven't really got much of a sweet tooth, unless it's chocolate, of course. That's the only sweet tooth I've got for chocolate. But no, I'm a savoury person, and I think you generally are. Your palate kind of changes as you get older, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Certainly mine does, and I'm going back to savoury. I like savoury stuff, hence the size of me, but I've got to really cut down on what I'm eating. So anyhow, I'm just gobbling shite at the moment, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back another couple of minutes for this pastry, and once it's done, I'll show you the pastry, and then I'll stick it in the oven. And then once that's cooled down, it'll be time to add the custard, jam, and the desiccated coconut. I nearly said dedicated there. And see what that's like, guys. You know what I mean? Can't wait. But it's got to be in the fridge for a couple of hours, which tells me that, can I wait a couple of hours before I go back on? I don't know. Might be part 3. I will get used to it where it's only part 1. I swear I will. I'll get help with my IT skills. What I need is a proper camera, don't I, that follows you around, that doesn't need stopping and starting and all that sort of crap, you know what I mean? But hey, there's plenty of them. There's worse than me on the YouTube. You know that yourself. Right, I'll get back to you in about 5 minutes. Right, guys. Only a couple of minutes. Christ, it's like waiting for paint to dry, this, isn't it? It really is. I can sing you a song if you want, or I can play the one-eyed piccolo. Too much of this, I think. I've been watching a couple of my people that I follow on YouTube, claim to be chefs. Honestly, there's one lady, I don't know if you've heard of Kay's Cooking. I found her last week, and I've been watching Kay's Cooking. Oh my God, this woman's hilarious. She's by no means a chef, bless her. She does try her best. And far be it for me to slag anybody's cooking off, but I get a lot of inspiration from her, because I think, girl, if you can do it, then I can do it. She's really good, and she's got a hell of a lot of followers as well. I was looking this afternoon, she was making a chicken masala curry. Oh my God, I felt ill just watching it, but she's really good, and there's 1.2 million people had viewed it, which tells me, well, she's doing something right, But yeah, cooking's not her first. Well, it's not a skill of hers, It's not really of mine. It's just something we've picked up over the years, I guess, But I'll tell you, one of the things that is missed out on a lot of these videos is food hygiene, food safety, and washing your pasties and all that kind of thing, And I think it's really important, I mean, I wash my hands, sanitize my hands before and after and during food preparation. And I think you've got to do it, even the kids, when they were on the other day, the first thing they did before we even put the video on was like, has everybody washed their hands? And the answer is no, but now we'll go and do it, and I thought that was brilliant. And that's what we should be instilling in the kids, is to wash your hands, But a lot of people do say, well, they don't do it on YouTube, for the fact is that they're only catering and cooking for themselves. But you think, yeah, but they must be cooking for the guests. They must be cooking for their families. And when I see some of these dishes, I think, good God, how you haven't getting food poisoning is beyond me. So what I thought I would do tomorrow night, because I was going to just put a 10-15 minute video up talking about food hygiene, food temperatures, and all that kind of good stuff, and bacteria, that sort of stuff. Um, and and what I did plan to do was not to clean my benches down because I'm terrible for cleaning down all the time, clean, 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 sanitize and wipe it off. What I wanted to do was to do a section about 10-15 minutes tomorrow on that. Um, and use the ultraviolet lamp that I've got that shows up bacteria. And if you haven't washed your hands properly, it'll show all the bacteria that's on your hands as well. And I think that's quite important. And I think that's what's missing on a lot of the videos that I do see, albeit they're cooking for the families, like they say, but hang on, you know, food safety and personal hygiene doesn't stop just because you're cooking for your family. I think, if anything, you should be, extra diligent at your cleaning regimes and all that sort of stuff. And when I look at some of the kitchens on YouTube, I'm like, oh my God, you feel like going in and helping them. Well, basically just to clean. Anyway, it's time for this to come out the oven. Yeah, and it's probably burnt. Let me have a quick look. Actually, that's not too bad. Just the sides have scorched a little bit, but who cares? Because that's going to go in the fridge. It's going to cool down. See that? That's all it is. Just short crust pastry. That'll be beautiful when it cools down. I'll just stick it on there for a while. I hope there's no cats outside. Um, oh my God, that's going to come spinning off. Oh. We'll let that cool down for 10-15 minutes. I'll bang that in the fridge or the freezer even. It doesn't matter. Then I'll get the custard out because that's in the freezer at the moment. That'll be cooling down lovely. We'll spread the jam on the base, put the custard on and sprinkle the desiccated coconut on, and it'll be absolutely beautiful. Right, see you in five, guys. Five Guys, where have I heard that before? Still waiting, guys. That's the Japanese love beads back in the pot. They've cooled down sufficiently to put back in. So we'll put them away for another day. It's the first time I've used them, actually. They're quite nice. They just flatten the pastry down. And I think it helps cook it a lot better. So I bung it in the oven for another 5 minutes. It's just cooling there. And when that's finished cooling, the custard's finished cooling in the freezer, hopefully soon, and we'll take that out and I'm quite looking forward to this, actually. I hope it turns out all right. It should do. Christ, it's only pastry and custard. And again, people go on about tradition. That's all it is. Pastry, custard, coconut, and bloody jam. What could be difficult? You know what I mean? So don't be giving me any difficult dishes to do, because I'll be all fingers and thumbs. Yeah. So when my friend comes tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow she comes, it'll not be too bad because we'll have some things to say, you know what I mean, to each other, putting the worlds to rights. And by the way, Leslie's a very, very good cook. I'll let Leslie introduce herself tomorrow, but she lived in Iceland, and I think it was for 21 years, and she's still got a son and daughter in Iceland, and I went over last year, I think it was. We went over in late September, early October. The bloody weather was gorgeous, and seen some lovely sights, and I would suggest, if you were ever going anywhere for a holiday, definitely go to Iceland. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people. Yeah, quite expensive, but again, no more expensive than what the UK is at the moment. Everything's through the roof, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come on, because I think, nowadays, especially the younger people, that lead really busy lives, and they live off basically takeaways and stuff like that. Well, that eats away. It has to eat away at your income. You know what I mean? So good old home cooking, it doesn't have to be perfect. Good God, this is not going to be perfect. You know what I mean? But for the cost, the cost's minimal, and the time it takes. Obviously, if you're doing it on videos and stuff like that, it's going to take all your time up. But if you're just doing it for your family, for your kids, it's very inexpensive, and that's what we should be doing, and that's what I want to do. Potato skins. We've all heard of potato skins. Years ago, we never threw any part of the potato out. We used to fry them potato skins, and they can't do you any harm. I just feel like there's too much fast food at the moment. And me, I wouldn't. Okay, when the kids are here, we do get a McDonald's, and I'll put my hand up. I do love is it the McCrispy, spicy McCrispy? I do love that. Like, to be honest with you, but it's all money, isn't it? And it costs a bloody arm and a leg. But good old fashioned home cooking, it doesn't cost that much. It really doesn't. And if you've got the ingredients in, then it just needs you to go on to some channel on YouTube, and you can pick up all sorts of recipes. You really can. That's where I picked a lot of mine up. But my aunties, like I say, they were all good chefs there, and we used to go there, and I used to get recipes off them, and I still remember them, perhaps not in detail in measurements, but I do remember the ingredients and everything like that. I mean, chicken a la king, who would have thought of that? You don't really hear of chicken a la king anymore. Chicken done in a cream sauce, with Worcester sauce and peppers, and obviously chicken, and it's absolutely beautiful, you know what I mean? Inexpensive, by the time you pay for a whole family to get a carry out, or you go out for dinner on a night time, it's going to cost you an absolute fortune, you know what I mean? And there's no reason why we shouldn't bring back good old home cooking. Now, I know Jamie Oliver did a thing for the schools a couple of years ago, and I thought it was really good, and he was shot down in flames early on, saying, oh, we can't afford to cook this sort of stuff. And I thought, bollocks, of course you can. Delia Smith, she you don't really hear of Delia anymore, although I think she pops up now and again at Christmas and does a few things, but she tends to cook stuff for the rich and famous, and she comes on and you look and you go, my God, I haven't got that in my fridge, or I haven't got that in my cupboard, because that's what it's designed for, I think, for people with money. They say it isn't, but of course it is, you know what I mean? But when you think of home cooking, I always think of Ruth Mott. I don't know if you've heard of a cook called Ruth Mott. I don't believe she was born in the war. She might have been. But Google or have a look on YouTube for Ruth Mott, her home cooking. Absolutely brilliant. And there's some really good recipes on there. She's got hands like shovels as well. She's proper old fashioned, And I think she's great. I've watched a few of her videos. And she does things like stews and soups and all that, homemade stuff. Well, I'm not too bad with soups, I mean, I've got the Ninja. I actually got it, believe it or not, I got the Ninja blender for making smoothies, healthy smoothies. I don't think I've had a smoothie yet. Oh, I think I've had a couple with almond milk or something like that with chia seeds in, which is supposed to be really good for you. But my nephew said, oh, you've got the wrong one. You've got the one that heats up. And I went, really? So I had a look at it. And yeah, you can make soups and everything. So I've made more soups than anything else, and in that blender, it takes about 30 minutes to do the soup. And I just throw everything in lumpy and it chops it up. And oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to use it, well, especially for the winter coming on. I'll be doing a lot of soups like. But yeah, it's good for that. So yeah, but have a look at Ruth Mott. She's really good. She's like a wartime cook, back in the day where they had servants and stuff like that. And it's all good old home cooking, I like it anyway. Right, I'm going to have a look for this custard, and I'm just gobbling shite. I know I am, but I'm actually getting used to it. And what I am getting used to is not leaving you for too long, because then it goes into another video, which I don't really want to do. I want to try and keep it at 2. I think when you go on to 3, it's like people's losing the will to live, basically, because you're going through all the steps, and then you get to the third one, and the third one's like the finished product, and you're like, oh, trying to remember what was said and how it was done, you know. But like I say, I will improve. You live and learn. I mean, I'm 64 coming up. I know I don't look it. I know you're all saying that. You don't look 64, but I am. You know, and all of this is quite new to me. And I think, well, you know, why can't we at our age share some of our own life experiences? You know, it doesn't all have to be, dare I say, younger folk. You know what I mean? But hey, I'm down with the kids. You know what I mean? So yeah, but anyway, again, I'm gobbling shite. So I'm going to see what this custard's like, and I'll put this in the freezer for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get started with the jam, hopefully. Right, see you in 5. Right, guys, I'm back. It's just about done. He says, what did Boris Johnson say? This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands. Oh no, you sing happy birthday. 20 seconds, that's all it takes to wash your hands. But yeah, I might put a video on tomorrow. Speaking about food hygiene and personal hygiene, again, which is often missed out, but very, very important. Oh, this bloody cheap kitchen roll. I'm saying cheap, like I said, there's nothing cheap anymore, is there? Right, what we're going to do now, guys, we're just going to plaster the, he says, jam on the flan dish. I'm going to put the jam in the middle, and then lift the custard out of the freezer. That'll be lovely and cool. I might give it a mix first before I put it on. Spread it out, and then just cover it with desiccated coconut. Basically, that's all you do. Anyway, I've still got some jam left over from the other day, because I don't like keeping jam for long. It does keep, don't get me wrong, but this is what we used for our Victoria sponge with the kids the other day. Come on. Oh, look at that. Actually, there might be enough in here, because you don't want too much jam on, to be honest with you. Although you don't want to be mean with it as well, you know what I mean? Might be better with a spoon. Oh, that's just as bad as using a palette knife. Might get away with it. It's the custard I'm wanting to see on. Because when you cut into this, you know, guys, you get the pastry, then you get the custard with the desiccated coconut on. Who knows, it might bring back memories of being back at school. God, I hated school, me. I don't know about yous, but I bloody hated it. But it's funny, isn't it? I mean, I left school with very little qualifications. Honestly, I just could not learn a thing, you know. And it wasn't for the, want of not listening to the school teacher. I just couldn't absorb it. You know, some people can absorb it, some people can't. And that, you know, when I reached 35, 40, I went into health and safety, and I went to Sunderland University. And actually, I surprised myself. Actually, there's going to be enough jam here. Is there any more in there? No. I very much surprised myself that I managed to finish my health and safety qualifications and took a really good job on offshore oil and gas, and I loved it. I loved the challenges, because every day is a challenge. Like they. Oh my word! Look at this. Yeah, so like I say, I wasn't really academic at school, and it wasn't until I left school and I was working offshore, then I got the chance to go into health and safety, um, and it was great. Exam work, I never ever thought I would be any good at exam work, but you surprise yourself. My writing hadn't improved. Like how the examiners read my writing, I still don't know. It's like a pigeon running across a page, you know. But oh wow, look at that, guys. Now that's just the bottom of the pastry. Is the jam? Okay, I'll get rid of that. Look, I've got another full jar of jam that I've never used. I'll stick that in the fridge. I'll use it for toast in the morning. I've got hot cross buns that I made last night. Oh, that's another thing. If you want anything like hot cross buns or anything, oh, I can turn my hand to anything. Right, let's see what this custard's doing. Come on. Oh, Jesus, it's frozen. No, it hasn't. We'll just take the Klingons off, the cling film. No, see, that's the important thing. When you put cling film over the custard, lie it on and it doesn't form a skin, because that's not really what you want. Now, do I need to mix that, or do I just spoon it out? Lovely. Just spoon it out. This is probably going to take all bloody day. But again, I mean, I'm not going to get... I think I've done too much custard, actually. Might save that. The kids might want that, because I'm picking them up from school tomorrow, I think. And I might just say, do you fancy some custard? Oh, some of this Tart, actually. I've got to keep Leslie some. And this obviously has to go back in the fridge for a couple of hours. God knows why. I mean, it's chilled down enough. But that's what they say. So you follow it and do as you're told. This is actually going to be lovely, I can just tell. Should I use all the custard? Why not? Oh shit. I mean, bugger. Can't swear in front of the kids. I'm one of these people that don't slip up. I never swear in front of the children, ever. But some people do. I've heard people when I've been in town, and they're effing and jeffing, and you think, are you joking? Swearing like that to your kids, and you wonder why the kids are the way they are, you know what I mean? It's actually, this is quite nice. This is just how I remember it at school. Oh my God, I'm going to use it all. Yeah, they wonder why the kids these days, because everybody, since mobile phones came out, I'm not saying everybody, because, people do have time for their kids. I'm not saying they don't, but 9 times out of 10, the people I've seen when I've been in town, the phone's been glued to their bloody hand, like, you know what I mean? The kids talking to them in their pram, and they're just carrying on. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. They probably didn't even know what the kids asked for, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just so wrong. It really is. It's just so wrong. Hey, that's my age coming out now, isn't it? And I know what you're all saying. For Christ's sake, just shut up and get on with it, will you? Look at that. Freaking beautiful. Right, let's cut the bit off this. Hang on, I need another. Oh, it's friggin' nectar, that. Now, can't remember if they did put cherries on it at school. It doesn't matter. I mean, some people put bananas on it. Not really for me, but you know, he feels ashamed to cut into this. But I say leave it for 2 hours, but I'm going to leave this until tomorrow because I won't touch it. And oh, freaking hell, I'm over the moon with that. Guys, look, close up. Oh, hang on, I'll come round there. Isn't that just beautiful? It's caught a bit on the sides, but once that's been in the fridge overnight, trust me, that'll be absolutely gorgeous tomorrow. And was it difficult to make? I'm sure you'll agree it wasn't. Mind, it's rather heavy. That's with the custard. But you cut into that tomorrow and serve that to your kids. They'll be over the friggin' moon, I'm telling you. I mean, one other thing I never said, when I mentioned Chris has got some strawberry jelly there, again, I'm moving away from the recipe. There's nothing wrong with doing a jelly, cooling it down and putting jelly in the bottom rather than jam. And then putting the custard on top, jelly and custard or custard and jelly, you know what I mean? So you can do a number of things, you know what I mean? And you have things in. So God knows what he's going to be doing with that. But yeah, simple. There it is. Manchester Tart. But don't forget, guys, try and tune in tomorrow. And I promise it won't be a long video. Oh, actually, if Leslie comes, it will be a long video because we'll both be sitting chatting and putting the worlds to rights. You might like it. You might just decide, oh, I've had enough and turn off. You know what I mean? But you like Leslie. She's lovely. Her culinary skills are something to, honestly, her food's to die for, to be honest. It really is. But enough of my shite. I'm going to have this wine and I'm going to do something for me tea. I mean, it's 8 o'clock. I don't like going to bed on a full stomach, so it's going to be something light. And then I'm going to knock up probably an omelette or something like that. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much. But do tune in. If, like I say, if Leslie can't make it tomorrow, then I'll still pop on and do a video. And we'll do a food safety video. I think it's really important. It'll only take about 10-15 minutes. But some of the pointers that, again, is often missed on YouTube on these kind of videos. And I think it's really important because at the end of the day, we want to keep everybody safe, you know. Right, that's enough for me. So I'll put this in the fridge and I'll get the reaction. I'll video Leslie's reaction to this or the kids' reaction to this tomorrow. You take care. Good night and thanks for staying anyway.